Keening is the act of public, ritualized, poetic lamentation over the dead. Keening was a highly sophisticated dramatic performance accompanied by a loud performance of public weeping, and was used to guide the souls of the dead. It has been described as a plaintive, drone-like chant. The word keen as a noun or verb comes from the Irish and Scottish terms chuinú, which means to weep or to cry. A chuinú was a rhythmic praise of the dead and was also used as a rude expression or discourse intended to offend enemies. A ban chuinte was the Irish phrase for a keening woman or a lament poem. A ban chuinte was generally known as a highly skilled ritual specialist. Her area of competence was the realm of death. Although her job was mainly ritual, the dramatic performance accentuates the mystery surrounding death.
Keening is presumed to derive from Celtic ancestry. However, evidence shows that it was present in early Greek and Roman cultures, and according to scripture, was also practiced in ancient Israel.
Virgin Mary has been seen as an active character in the history of keening by lamenting the death of her son. She was crazed with grief, had loosened hair, and ran barefoot through the wilderness. She screamed at the soldiers who crucified Christ and leapt into the air like a madwoman. Many keening women were described this way. They often let their hair hang loose, were barefoot, and would travel through the wilderness instead of on the roads. These women were very careless about their appearance and commonly had torn clothing. When keening first began, it was done by bards, who were attached to the family of a chief or noble. However, this tradition was eventually taken over by women, resulting in keens that were composed by men but performed by women. After keening had become common in Ireland, the early fathers of the church wanted to eliminate it entirely. The keening woman and priest were in complete opposition to each other, as it was essentially both their jobs to escort the soul from this world to the next. In the 1800s, J.M. Synge showed keening women in the theater. His plays were mainly based on his time spent in the Aran Islands. J.M. Synge states that the grief of the keen is no personal complaint, but seems to contain the whole passionate rage that lurks somewhere in every native of the island.
Keening women acted out their grief as if mad. These women often describe themselves as disheveled and often speak of drinking the blood of the dead and rending their garments. She traveled great distances without noticing discomfort or exhaustion. Sometimes she was said to be mad or crazy, and in several texts she is described in the same terms as Sweeney and other mad characters of Irish tradition. The keening woman occupied a position on the borders of the world of the living and of the dead. She was looked to describe the boundaries of human life and the culture following death. She served as a kind of psychopomp who presided over the transition in which the whole community found itself. The women that were hired to keen at funerals and wakes were generally rural Irish women. They were uncorrupted by civilization and were described as simply savage and were thought to represent direct access to authentic emotions. The lamenter occupies a marginal position between the worlds of the living and the dead. On one hand, she cuts herself off from the stable community by her behavior, yet in the other process gains a license to speak vehemently and even violently. On the other hand, although most of the lament is an address to the corpse, she does not solely speak to the dead, but to the living and the deceased community as well. Although sometimes ridiculed, she was seen as a holy fool and maintained the disposition of respect from the communities she performed in. Keening tradition has since become less common and has slowly died out in the last 100 years. While it survived longer in Ireland than in mainland Europe, it is now only practiced by a few families. Angela Burke suggests that keening died out as the values of the literate, urban, industrialized world have spread. Keening mainly survived as an oral tradition, but some popular Irish laments from Eileen O'Connell, a well-known keening woman, were written down from oral recitations starting in the 1800s. Other laments have been preserved on tape or manuscript and are kept in the Department of Irish Folklore at University College Dublin. The Irish language is making a comeback all across Ireland. Could that be the spark that's needed to reignite the keening flame? Only time